Rev up your engines! Well, if you haven't been following me or don't know, Ford lately has been plagued with problems in building their vehicles. This is a 2021 Ford Expedition, and the owner's got all kinds of problems with this thing from the day one. It was purchased new, and the tailgate's been having problems from day one, not shutting correctly. All kinds of warning lights have been coming on. Loses acceleration, especially when you're coming to a stop sign, stoplight, and have to take off. Understand, the level of technologies in these things is insane. Now, this is a V6 EcoBoost twin-turbo GDI engine with the infamous 10-speed automatic transmission that has 3 overdrives. It's not like this thing was made in Mexico. As you can see, it was made in the USA, and you can see it's rear-wheel drive. But we're going to put it on a scan tool and see what's happening with this thing, because they're getting all kinds of warning lights coming on, saying it's losing acceleration, taking off at slower speeds. We'll plug it in, easy to find the plug. See, it's got a bunch of stuff. Front camera fault, pre-collision assist not available, comfy regular cloth seats that will last forever. There's a lot of space in one of these things. Set up nicely and everything, nice little blue colors and everything. But the problem is, it keeps acting up in lots of ways. Ford has quality controls, there's no arguing that, and this has had problems since the get-go. This was bought brand new. Been taken care of. It's just their quality isn't what it used to be. Expedition EcoBoost 3.5 liter automatic. So we're going to analyze it. Doing a scan, yeah, I mean, they're well set up. Ergodynamically, a big old armrest. The cloth seats, but they're real comfy. Now here we go. You can see we got 5, 6, 7 faults, but the other systems are working. So we'll start at number 1, the driver's door module. Left blind spot warning indicator. That's why it's got some of these codes here that your pre-collision assist isn't available. Look at the image processing module. It's got 5 faults. And they all say control module, communication codes. As I said, these Ford Expeditions are extremely complex. They have many computer modules on them, and they are often known to get failures. Failure type 41, general checksum failure. Fault previously detected, but monitor has not completed the determined state. So it's got a problem in the module system, but it can't determine what it is. All right, they're not building that great. Obviously, the software isn't that great either. The software should be able to interpret the stuff, and it isn't. We're going to try to erase these things and then take it for a road test. Got rid of all the codes except for this one code here. So we'll check it out again. It's that control module code we had before. Internal electrical failure. If you can't erase the code to do a road test, that means that's a problem that exists somewhere in the circuitry. The ignition's on now. It knows there's a problem there, even without the car running. So the control module could be bad. The circuitry could be bad. Or you could have a short in any of the sensors that feed this thing. So let's start it up. And since they were saying the transmission acted weird, let's take it for a road test. Now, people are always kind of whining about these 10-speed transmissions acting up, slipping. We'll take it for a ride and see what happens with our computer hooked up for data. I can already see when I go to reverse to drive, hear that clunk? Shouldn't clunk like that. That's off an internal transmission wear. I'm more a fan of the V8 ones. I'm not a big fan of these turbo V6s. They just don't have the feel of a V8. See if we lose any kind of acceleration going slow and then taking off. I can feel a little hesitation, but here's something that I find with these transmissions. Now, turn itself off. I hate that stop-start stuff. That's just a bunch of nonsense. But a lot of it has to do with the 10-speed transmission with 3 overdrives, trying to get the best gas mileage. So, we're going to do this. We'll push the drive mode button, and we'll put it on sport mode. Now it's in sport mode. You can see the S there, sport mode. The sport mode will have much firmer shifts. You'll get a little bit worse gas mileage, but you're not going to get this hesitation when you're trying to take off at low speeds. So let's try it off here. We'll come kind of a roll and stop. It had no hesitation taking off then. So let's take it to our little drag strip. Low speeds, it's not doing any hesitation. Now, off to the drag strip while we're in sport mode. We look in the rear view mirror there, nobody's coming. So, we'll see how this thing takes off. Like I say, I like the V8s, but this is a twin turbo 6. It shifts good in the sports mode, but they can talk all they want. This does not have the pickup of a V8 engine whatsoever. In the sport mode, when you want to accelerate, you can see it's not lagging at all. And since there's no one behind us, we'll slow down. Brakes work good. And we'll do a little rolling stop go. And there's no hesitation now. Just a tiny little bit shift in there. Realize these 10-speed transmissions, they're a little on the squirrely side when it comes to lower end shifts, even in the sport mode, but the sport mode is much better. It doesn't have any transmission codes, it doesn't have any problem with the data. It's just when you have 10 speeds, even when you're in sport mode, they're a little squirrely between gears. But that's just how these things are. The vehicle itself is pretty quiet. Took turn signal off and even quieter. But I don't like that automatic start-stop, so I turned it off. So it's sitting nice and smooth, and I'm not messing around with the start-stop. Because watch, we'll turn the start-stop back on. It's going to stop itself. And we'll see what happens when the light turns green. It didn't have that much hesitation going from start to stop. This is a 2021, so it's not that lurchy like the earlier ones were. I just don't like it. I find it annoying, so I'm turning it back off again. Now if we switched it to eco mode, you can see the green down there. We switched it to eco mode. Now let's see what happens in eco mode. It had more of a hesitation starting up. You could hear it. So if you really want the best performance one of these, you really want to put it in sports mode and turn the automatic start-stop off. If you do want to get better gas mileage, go ahead, put it on eco. Have the start-stop engaged so it'll turn itself on and off. But me, I just don't go for that driving experience myself. It's much more drivable in the sport mode. Doesn't have the hesitation. So I took it for a road test, and the only code left is that one for the processing module. Probably why the pre-collision assist isn't working anymore, as we'll check it as it cycles through itself. Pre-collision assist not available. No, this is an XLT, which of course begs the question, would I pay $55,000 for this car? No, I wouldn't. I don't think it's got the quality. That kind of money I wouldn't expect or ready to have problems with a car that hasn't been wrecked or flooded or stolen or anything. But in terms of how the transmission works, it's pretty typical for these. It's not particularly shot, it's not particularly worn out. They just have a tendency of hunting for gears, which you can bypass using the sports mode instead of the economy or the normal mode. Now this thing gets around 17 miles a gallon in city, about 23 miles a gallon on a highway. Not phenomenal gas mileage, but it's a pretty big SUV. That's what you're going to expect. Which to me begs the question, why does it have a V6 then? It's not such great gas mileage. You put a V8 and a 10-speed on this, there's going to be all that much difference. Because this is a twin turbo V6. So it's a V6 engine that of course naturally has less power than a V8, but it's got two turbos, which have a little turbo lag, as all turbos do. So you combine that with the 10-speed transmission that hunts for gear, the driving experience really leaves quite a bit to be desired. Even when you have it in sports mode, it's a little bit wonky, but in normal driving mode, yeah, it's just kind of funky. Acceleration's kind of bizarre. I frankly would expect a better driving experience for $50-something thousand. That kind of money, I'd expect more than what this is putting out. And realize this thing is only 2 years old now. It's having electronic problems in modules already. Imagine what's going to happen when the dozens of modules get to be 8, 10, 12 years old and start to go squirrely electronically. On top of the twin turbo V6 gasoline direct injection EcoBoost system that this has. Very complex. When they break, they're very expensive and very hard to diagnose to find out what the problem is in the first place. But of course, ultimately, it's your car, your money, your choice. I'm just giving you my opinion of it after working on it for 54 years and seeing that Ford quality has been slipping quite a bit lately. I wouldn't have bought in this car. Not at that price. Not even half that price I wouldn't have bought it. Doesn't have what I would want for any kind of money, really. Not great gas mileage, but not great power, kind of wonky electronics. It's not for me. And here's some bonus questions and answers. Alan 20 says, I got 08 Honda Civic. Every now and then I can't get the key out of the ignition. No matter how many times I take it out and turn it, it won't come out of the ignition. It's stuck in there. What could it be? It's one of two things. Hopefully you've been listening to me, and in your drawer, you got at least one spare key. Try another key. If a key wears out, that's exactly what will happen. If that's the case, the key that gets stuck, throw it away, get the key that works, and make another copy at a locksmith so you got a spare again, right? It's often just a worn key. The ridges of the key will wear out. But if it's not that, it means you need a new ignition lock assembly. It's a 08 Civic. Places like AutoZone, O'Reilly's, they sell them. Now, you get a different key with the cylinder, and they're very easy to do. You get your old one out, there's a little hole, you stick a pick in on the backside, and you pull the old assembly out, and then you snap the new one in. It's very easy to do. You'll need that if it isn't the key, and it could be the key. That's why I tell people, you want at least 2 good keys, because not only do you lose one, eventually keys wear out. And so you got one that's worn out, you get one that works fine, then all you got to do is get another key made instead of having to buy the whole assembly. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.